ability to be, the first ones to the deal or have deal flow that comes through your desk and be the first one to see it. That's just tremendous advantage. I want to say probably 98% of deals that come in Phoenix market right now, we probably see them 2 or 3 months before everybody else. And that is an advantage, but that took time to what you said. It is a relationship business.
Your network is your net worth. Come listen to some of the most successful people I know share invaluable knowledge, stories, and advice in real estate, business, and beyond. This is Weiss Advice. Whether you want to take your business or personal life to the next level, look no further. Welcome back to another episode of Weiss Advice. I am your host, as always, Yona Weiss. With me today, I am pleased to be sharing the screen or the microphone, whichever way you are listening to it, with Robert Szewczyk. What is going on, Robert?
Hey, Yona, how are you? Good to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. There's a lot of things going on, especially in Phoenix and Arizona market. It's on fire. It's crazy. It's literally on fire, and it's literally hot. We're just exiting like 118 degrees temperature. So from every perspective, we're being hit in the face with the heat of Phoenix. Yeah. And just to give our listeners a little bit of context, I mean, what he's talking about, obviously, if you've ever been to Phoenix, you know what it's like in terms of the heat, but it's also on fire in terms of the real estate market. I mean, it's probably one of the hottest markets in the US at this point. Robert is the co-founder of Rise 48 Equity. So you guys may remember Zach Happenstall from episode number, I don't even remember, but it was probably in the 20s or 30s, way back when. Go check that out. He is one of the other co-founders, and they came together to invest in real estate, specifically in the Phoenix metro market. And you guys have, I'm just curious to go back to his episode and where you guys were at that point, close to a year ago, and where you've come. I mean, can you give us a little bit of context in terms of what you guys have accomplished in the last 18, 24 months or so? Yeah, no, of course. Thank you for asking. So we've actually met, the three of us, big friend Zach and I, we've met in 2018. And, we've been talking about investing in Phoenix market. Both of us, Zach and I, were in Phoenix. We're local to Phoenix. We both lived in Scottsdale, and big friend at the time was in California. And we met through one of the, nationwide investment groups that we've joined. And we met 2018. We figured, hey, let's see if we can work together before we get married.
Right.
Let's see if we can date a little bit.
Yeah. And
it's going to work out, like any other relationship. So we've identified our first property 2018, and we closed on it in February 2019. That was our first deal ever that we've made in Phoenix Metro. And this was actually a 36-unit smaller apartment building in Phoenix, right across from GCU. So we really liked the location, and we actually formed a TIC, which stands for Tenancy in Common. We've kind of figured that before we go out to the quote unquote public space and start raising money, asking people to invest with us, we should probably put our own money on the line, right, and see if we can actually deliver the returns and we can actually operate the property. So we bought that first property February 2019. We exited, as a long story short, with some problems in a way and a lot of learning curve for ourselves. We exited this property in 21 months. And it was pretty good returns. We had like 1.91 equity multiple at the time that we sold, and I think our IRR returns were around 44%. So we're super excited about that. After this property, we did another take, which was a 59-unit apartment in Scottsdale. We still own it. It cash flows. It's a fantastic property. We're probably going to keep it for a long time. It's one of those trophy assets that you want to hold on to and have it for a little longer time. And then from that point, we kind of started syndicating. So we went from this to 76 unit syndication, then it was 137 and 112, and it was just like 140, 161, and just all over. So in a short period, from the first property that we purchased for February 2019 until today, fast forward, we have, I want to say about 10 properties, maybe 10, 11 properties, and a little over $170 million worth of real estate and under our asset management, all in Phoenix. And it's
great.
It's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. So we've definitely grown fast.
Yeah, you have, and it's just incredible to watch. And I think a lot of it has to do with the teamwork, right? Obviously, each one of you comes with different experiences, with different, and I think it's what make great teams in general. I mean, whether real estate or anything, when you have people coming together and they complement each other in different ways. I mean, you come back, you have, like you mentioned before, you have an architectural degree and you have a lot of experience more on that side of things and the construction side of things and the management. Whereas, Zach, it comes from like a sales profession where he was really good raising capital, really good with those relationships with that kind of stuff. And Bikram's a CPA, so he's a numbers guy, right? And I think those are three integral components you need in any real estate game. So I think you guys found the right synergies to kind of be able to grow as fast as you have and continually. I mean, by the time this episode airs, I'm sure it's going to be a lot bigger than what you mentioned here. But I remember I came to visit you guys. I was out in Phoenix. When was it? It was in summer of 2019.
Yeah,
and I mean,
green on it and that well stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That was a great property, and it's
we're actually trying to get the BOV, the broker's opinion of value, and see if we can put it on the market. So,
awesome! That would be exciting.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of coming to Phoenix during the summer. I won't make that mistake again, but. But it was good. It was fun. It was a great opportunity. I actually had my stepbrother was there, and he was sick at the time. Unfortunately, passed away last year, and so I had the opportunity to visit him at the same time. So that was important. But it was great to meet you guys. It was great to spend the time and watch. But I remember one thing that Zach said at the time. He was like, he wants to build an empire,
right?
Empire, and that to me was like, wow. That's a big goal. I mean, he's a young guy and a lot of ambition, and you can see it, and it's happening. I mean, it is literally property by property. It looks like every other day on LinkedIn or something. There's like a new post, a new closing. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, no, it is amazing. I have to agree, and I'm going to touch a little bit on this. What you said, that we have all complementary roles and skills within a company, and to this. Which is true. And to this, I'm just going to add that the age difference is also playing a lot of factor in this, because, Zach is a lot younger than me, and he's a typical go-getter. Like if you go and hit the wall, I'm going to be like, okay, let's look for the door. So we can, go on the other side. And Zach would be like, screw the door. Let's just go through the wall. So yeah, it's absolutely like this. He's like this bunny that you see from the commercial. Right,
the Energizer bunny. It's true.
I think Beckham and I are probably the two guys that are trying to slow him down. It's like, hey, let's think about this. Like, hey, let's review the numbers again. Like, no, let's just go. Let's go. So yeah, beginning of the year, we had a goal that we set up for ourselves to hit $250 million in acquisitions. And have $250 million worth of real estate under asset management. And honestly, we're on the path to actually get there.
Right.
We already have about $170 million right now. We just closed on the property called Cascada, which is in Phoenix, yesterday. So
wow, okay.
You probably have received the email or you saw it somewhere on the social media, but we literally just closed that. So that puts us to a little over $170 million in asset management. And we have 3 other properties that are still sitting in the escrow that we already raised all the funds for. And we're just simply waiting for all the documents and for the seller to actually get. Some of the sellers are extending the closing, but I want to say we have an additional $100 million sitting in there. So
wow.
Everything is closed and this is just June. So we're happy. So we're gonna definitely hit $250 million this year, if not exceed it. And so for the next year, we asked Zach, so what do you think the company should go? I said, well, if we publish us to 50 and we hit it, well, then we should go for $500 million. So we'll see. It's not a race. Right. Everything at the end of the day has to make sense.
Yeah.
And a lot of properties today do not make sense, but the one that do, we go very hard after and make sure that we can be upfront in front of the seller and in front of the buyer and the broker, and we can actually perform. So
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like you mentioned right at the beginning, it's a hot market. What I mean by that is that there is it's hard, like you said, to find deals that make sense. And, Phoenix, especially because you guys are focused specifically in the Phoenix metro, it's a limited inventory, right? For what you guys are looking for, right? There aren't, hundreds and hundreds of properties on the market at any given time that you can kind of pick and choose from. You got to kind of sift through everything and find those kind of diamonds in the rough that make sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've been blessed. We really have been blessed, and with everything that's happening in Phoenix. And I can tell you, I remember in 2019 when we were buying this first property, we thought back then we were scared. Like we were like, oh my God, we're probably overpaying. The market is so hot. And everybody back then was saying the market is hot. So we were kind of, no, I don't want to say petrified, but we were concerned that like, do we actually know what we're doing? And oh my God, when you look at the market in 2019 and today, I honestly don't know how you can enter this market, break into this market right now if you are not in Phoenix and haven't been in the Phoenix for the past 3 to 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you are a newcomer from out of state and you just want to buy your first property in Phoenix, it's going to be extremely hard to break in. So we were blessed, like for the past 2 years, really, with our company focus was on creating, strategic relationships with the brokers, and Zach was very active on this front. So, to give you the perspective, I think the last 5 deals that we closed in 12 months were all off-market properties, and that's an advantage that we have. Definitely, that's the edge that we have here, because the three of us, Zach, Vikram, and I, we're all local to Phoenix. We don't have any other job. We have an office in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. We all live here now. And those relationships that we worked for the past 2 years now are paying off.
That's a huge point. I just want to reiterate that point for a second before you continue. Yeah. The relationship building is so key. That's everything in business. I mean, it is. And it pays. You may not see it immediately and you won't necessarily see it immediately, but it definitely pay off. That's what I say in the beginning of our show and the intro. You didn't hear it right now, but what plays at the intro is that your network is your net worth, right? That's it. It's really, that's what it is. So go ahead, finish your thought there, Robert.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, ability to be, the first ones to the deal or have deal flow that comes through your desk and be the first one to see it, that's just tremendous advantage. I want to say probably 98% of deals that come in Phoenix market right now, we probably see them 2 or 3 months before everybody else. And that is an advantage, but that took time. To what mm-hmm. you said, it is a relationship business. And I remember years ago, I remember even 2015 when I, we were talking about real estate in general, multifamily specifically, and everybody was saying it is a very competitive market, and it's not it is a relationship business. I don't think I really understood what that mean, relationship business. I thought that maybe between the partners and stuff like this, but that too, but the relationship that you have with the property managers, with the local brokers, with the lenders, with all the vendors that go around the property, just from the operation standpoint, this is just it's very crucial, and it's a big operation. And if you have those, and you have the ability to build those relationships ahead of time, then it's going to take some time. But once you get there, we're right now, like I said before, most of the deals in Phoenix that happen and that you see on the market, we probably saw it 2-3 months before they even hit the market.
That's a huge advantage. That's a huge advantage. And I think it's awesome that you came to it over time. I mean, like you said, that first deal that you guys did. And what I'm impressed most with is that you guys did something really smart there, is that you decided, let's just use our own capital. Okay. Let's go in and put our own money in, and let's just buy a smaller deal and see if we can do it. And that's That's really taking, a lot of the risk on your shoulders and seeing if it can work, right? You just jumped right in there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it was a substantial amount of money for ourselves. Like, it was a lot of money. It wasn't just 50,000. It was like a lot of money. So we were all a little scared, but at the same time, you have to get to the line. And I can't remember who said that, but I remember saying that you are only growing, and you only grow when you step outside of this comfort zone that you created around daily life. If you remain within your comfort zone, you're never going to be able to grow. And so that was our red line that we stepped over, and we just kind of went off the cliff and said, like, all right, it's working. Let's do this. Let's risk the money. If we lose it, lose it. If we make it, we're going to go big. And it worked out, and we went big.
And you did. Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you something on the capital raising side of things, because this is something that's, fascinating to me, but, you said that's something that you're involved with on the day to day as well as Zach. I mean, where are you guys finding to be able to have enough funds to fund deals so quickly? I mean, to be able to make those decisions on the spot, like, this is a deal, let's do it, and then fund it. How are you guys going about that? Is it all from like the same investor pool? Are you growing that? You have you going to private equity, or what is it?
Yeah, that takes a lot of time and to develop the relationship. Yeah, no, we're raising money pretty much with our old, small investors. And so in any given deal, we can have anywhere from 100 to 150 investors.
Wow.
Mostly investors that we've built relationships over time. We have a lot of professionals that we know. Like my wife is a physician, and she's partnered in one of the biggest still privately owned groups in Phoenix market. So I was always around, high net worth individuals, and Zach comes from kind of the same background. Like he was a president and one of the hospice companies here in the Valley. So he was also exposed to this medical environment. So definitely a lot of high net worth individuals. And then over time, just building this relationship and maintaining this relationship and making sure we're always communicating with them and just keep growing. We haven't done, we're thinking about going the institutional, well, not institutional, but PE. There is, of course, some combinations on partnerships sometimes, but mostly our funds come from the relationships that we've had with our really small investors.
Gotcha. And so you having those kind of same people just putting in every deal, basically? Yep,
absolutely. And we have new ones coming in, and the ones that we repeat, a lot of repeat investors. I mean, once you start, giving returns to investors and you're making money for them, they'll tell their friends, and their friends will tell the other friends, and it's just snowballing. It's like a snowball effect, and so it's a very, very humbling experience, and it takes a lot of responsibility on our, from us to take care of those funds. So it's amazing, it's humbling, and it's just. It's a very blessing.
That's awesome. And you enjoy it? I mean, you have fun with it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So even though, my background is in architecture, like you said, and like you said before, I always wanted to be around real estate now that I think about it, from the very beginning. So, and I've been in real estate for, I want to say 17 years now. And I started as a realtor with a broker license, then I moved from Pennsylvania to Arizona. So this real estate environment is something that I love, that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. When I was a broker, I have to say I wasn't a really good agent. Like I didn't have communication skills. I didn't really chase the sellers or the buyers. Mm-hmm. But I was building I was more focused on building, generational wealth, and I was interested always about, hey, what is this passive income? This mm-hmm. mean I can go to the beach and money's going to be coming. And I'm going to how do I make this happen? So It was just a lot of questions, and then just reading books and educating yourself and surrounding yourself with the like-minded people, joining groups, and generally, like, if you ever listen to the real estate guys radio show, Robert Helms or Russell Gray, I can't remember which one is saying that, but I think it's Robert Helms that always says, if you walk into the room and you are the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. Right. So, and that philosophy kind of, synced around my head. And it's like, I always wanted to be surrounded by smarter people that I can learn something. And so this growing process of getting into real estate, it's not just one deal. It's not just one house, one condo, one this. It's an experience of years to get to this level, and then definitely meeting perfect partners, which I think I have. That definitely helps.
That's awesome. That's incredible. And I mean, you came from, you grew up in Poland, right? Your background is there. You have your family there still, I assume. Right. And you got your degree there, right? Meaning you went through the whole system. And then, at what point, what drove you to come to the States, do business here?
That's a good question. That's a long answer. I'm going to try a short answer, but so yeah, I graduated architecture school in Poland, and I got my degrees in there. I also get recognized. My diploma was recognized by Royal Institute of British Architects, which is short for RIBA, which I thought is going to help me to break into the architecture jobs in the United States. This was always my plan. My plan, my life was be somewhere in the United States or Northern America. But anyway, I met my wife in Poland. She was also born in Poland, but she really grew up in Canada. We met when she was in the medical school. I was still in architecture school. We got married in Poland. We moved to Canada. Then from Canada to the United States, been in Pennsylvania for about 8 years. And that's what, when I realized that I don't know really too much about the U.S. style architecture and the construction and how things are being built. So I moved to construction, and then from there I wanted to go back to architecture field. But then, like I said before, the faith had different
got
plans.
The real estate bug.
Yeah, my wife and I we actually found some real estate books and found out about a passive income. And then, and I decided, that's pretty much what I wanted to do. So I quit architecture. I got my license. I worked for a small office in central Pennsylvania that did residential and commercial real estate. I've learned a lot in that during the process.
Yeah.
My entire time in that office was to figure out how to create passive income and generational wealth. That to me meant freedom, and that's just freedom of time spending time with my wife, kids, and going wherever you want, doing whatever you want. So that was the drive.
Oh, okay. And so now you're living the dream, right? If that was your goal back then you're basically doing it.
I think everybody has the same dream. It's just like some people act on it, some people don't act on it.
It's so true.
It's not easy. I mean, when you look at that, when you study rich people or people that are successful, because being rich doesn't always mean that you're successful. It's just something that just happens in a part of your life, and then you lose it. But being successful, I think in general, is just growing internally. I think being able to grow as a person and around whatever you like. So if you can create lifestyle around something that you love, it just becomes your daily life. It just you love more. It. Absolutely. And it's like, I love what I'm doing. That's
growing people. Growing people. I mean, that's really what it's all about. That really, truly successful people in general. Totally agree on that. Robert, I want to transition now into what we like to call the final four. So these are 4 questions I ask all my guests at the end of the episode. And the first question I have for you is, what is the worst job that you ever had?
I've had a few in Poland, but I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, no, come on. We're going to talk about it.
I got to tell you, when I moved from sitting in the office as an architect, young aspiring architect, moved to the construction, I don't want to say this was the worst, but it was very, very hard. And I remember when at some point in there, I wanted to learn more about plumbing and how plumbing works. And I remember one of the property, I was renovating, and I think I was renovating even some of the. I was working in a basement in my own house in Pennsylvania, and I cut the wrong pipe, man, and the sewer just flew out of that pipe. It hit the ceiling, hit me, and it wasn't a pretty view. I was but I remember myself sitting there and thinking, my goodness, if I was to do this every day for the rest of my life, would I enjoy this? And I appreciate the hard work and I loved it, but I think this was the worst time when I realized, it's time to get out of the construction, time to get out of the dirt and all the grease and start look at the perspective.
That's a great
perspective from real estate. So I think the toughest was the construction. These guys work really hard, and we don't always give them the whole appreciation of what they do.
For sure.
And being there, I know how hard it is, and that was hard. It was really hard.
Okay, so now I want to hear your worst job in Poland.
Well, I was oh boy, when I was in architecture school, I used to work with some of the interesting builders, and I've got burnt many times, and man, I don't know if I want to go there.
Okay. Sorry, bring it back.
It was tough. It was generally tough times in Poland back then. We were just coming out of the socialist and communist, era in Poland. So I've met some of my friends, American friends, that moved to Poland in that time, and they saw the opportunity we didn't see. Because, many times immigrants come out of the countries and escape to countries like United States or Canada or England or whatever they go, because they simply can't recognize the opportunities that present themselves in their front of their eyes. So I've met some of the friends from United States and Poland, but and I transitioned to this American way of thinking, like about the assets and what's the liability. It was fantastic to be around those people,
right,
treating businesses in a Poland that was barely starting to have democracy and economy that is today thriving. Before that, being in a school, having to survive on my own. One of the jobs I had, I remember, was even during the summertime. I had absolutely no money. I don't come from riches. My family's pretty poor. It was pretty poor back then, like many people in Poland and growing up in this system. I used to travel a lot. I used to travel to countries like Norway, France, and other parts of Europe. And I just worked worked mostly labor, on the roofs, painting properties. It was a tough time. It was a tough time because at the same time I was studying architecture, hoping to become an architect, and I had to support myself. Yeah. I think from perspective right now, I think it was the best thing that could happen to me, because it gave me spine, gave me this individuality, and taught me how to how to work.
Yeah, that work ethic for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But working in the heat outside on the roof. It's not always fun.
No, definitely not. Well, Robert, what's the second question for you? What's a book you've read that's given you a paradigm shift, just made you think totally different?
Yeah, and I think I'm going to have to go back to the time when I was in Pennsylvania, trying to figure out what I would go back to architecture or just something else. 2004 or 5. My wife and I picked a book that's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and many today refer to this book as, the Purple Book. I think I read this book and I realized that this is probably what I want to do in life. Mm-hmm. This real estate, I was trying to figure out what exactly is going to happen and how to do it, how to break into this. But that was the first book that I remember reading and have a paradigm shift in my mind. Like, oh, wait a second. So I don't always have to, be behind the desk or do the labor. I can create a wealth by buying real estate. Mm-hmm. So that was definitely a book that taught me a lot and just made me think that I could achieve something other than just becoming an architect, which is great on its own. But this freedom was amazing. Right. And I'll tell you what, from the perspective of time, I've met a lot of friends and made a lot of friends in an investment, environment, the real estate. And one of them was the group that I know and I joined and I visited many real estate conferences. After reading this book in 2004 or 5, I had a chance to meet Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote that book. I was lucky enough to be and attend his birthday party. I had a shot with him and had a conversation with him and sat across the table at the dinner table. And so I was like, I remember sitting there and thinking like, oh my God, I remember this poor immigrant from Poland reading the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and have a paradigm shift and change a career and a life. And here I am sitting across the table from the guy, very young guy who wrote that book.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
It was just amazing time. And until today, that's probably going to be the best book I've read. Maybe not the best, because there's a lot of good books out there on investments, but this was the book that changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That's a great story. So third question, what's a skill or talent that you'd like to learn?
Honestly, I want to learn a lot more what actually Bikram does. The underwriting perspective, the working with the numbers, the ins and outs of, Excel spreadsheets and with numbers. This is a part that is kind of missing in my the real estate head, so to speak, in mind. Bikram is just simply amazing. He can sit behind a computer. He would have 3 or 4 different spreadsheets and screens open up at the same time, and it's just analyzing numbers. Versus kind of like watching Matrix, man. And at any given time, I walk into his office and I see just numbers flowing down and then moving things around. I sit there and I feel like I'm pretty dumb. So definitely having the ability to work the numbers a lot more and understanding all the aspects of numbers, not just from a return perspective, but how this ties to the loan that we're getting, why this type of a loan. There's a lot of ins and outs in real estate, not just what we provide at the end is a final product, but all the work that goes into it.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to grasp. Now, given I don't have to do this because between the three of us, we have those roles and we complement each other. But that's definitely something that I would like to learn more about. It's kind of what Bikram does.
Sure. It's such an important skill to have. I'd like to learn that also, to be honest, because something I don't really enjoy that type of thing, but I do appreciate the value that you need to have that in order to do real estate, in order to do it well. So fourth and final question, what does success mean to you?
Good question. I have to say, ability to spend time with my family, with my kids, and be at home at any given time. We do hard work in here and we sit in our office for sometimes long hours. But ability to pick up and go and visit other places, visit your family, and ability to tell you what if you have a spouse and if she's working, ability to say, hey, if you don't want to, you can stop working at any given time because we have enough passive income coming that we can support a family. That is to me success, and everybody has a different definition of it. And I've met people like they're saying, "Hey, if I was able to have $5,000 in monthly cash flow, positive cash flow, and passive income, that I would be happy and successful." I've met people that had $10,000 a month, $50,000, and I've met people that say, "I actually need $200,000 in passive monthly income." So everybody has the different needs. To me, at the end of the day, it's going to be related to money only because money buys you time. Money buys the time that you can use and spend with your family. And that is, at the end of the day, if you have enough time to spend with your family, so when your kids look back 20, 30 years from now and say, hey, dad or mom, thank you for all the time, all the dedication that you give to educate me, to sit with me, go through the homework. Thank you just for being there. Not everybody has the ability to do this because I know there's a lot of people working really, really hard in their jobs, and they don't have that luxury of spending time with the kids. They come home, they're exhausted. Yeah. The last thing they want to do is just work on the homework with the kids. So ability to buy time, that is absolutely, there is no value on this.
Yeah, I love that. Love that answer. I can relate to that a lot. Having 6 kids myself, and spending the time with them, can relate to that. But love that answer. So thank you so much, Robert. Where can our listeners find you or reach out to you if they want to?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody can learn more about us and what we do, or myself. You can go to our website at www.rice48equity.com. That's RISE, like Rice 48 for the 48th state of the union. We're in Arizona, so rice48equity.com. You'll see our portfolio is in there. All the information, the contact information about us is there. You can set up a call with us or through Calendly or for emails, phone numbers, everything is out there. So you can reach out by email, phone call. Website is probably the best way to do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time with us today, and wish you a lot of continued success, and look forward to coming back sometime when it's not blazing heat summer in Phoenix.
Yeah, no, I would invite you even tomorrow, but it's really, really hot. So if you want to stay away. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the time. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure. And if I was able to provide even 0.5% of some kind of knowledge to anyone out there, just stay focused, work hard, and anybody can do what we do. Anybody really. It's simple, but it's not easy. So you have to put some work in it. But it is definitely something that I've enjoyed. So thank you for having me again.
Love that. Simple, but not easy. That's good. Awesome. And to our listeners, thank you again for joining us for the Wise Advice Podcast. And remember, the best advice comes only when you ask. Real quick, I have one question for you. Did you like this episode? If you did, I want to ask you a huge favor. See, the biggest thing that helps this podcast grow and that will spread this message to the whole world is that if you leave a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. What that does is it basically tells the platforms that this podcast is out on is that you like my stuff and I'm doing something right. So take a few seconds out of your day, hit that subscribe button, leave a rating or review. I would be extremely grateful. Also, I want to hear from you guys. So I want to hear some feedback. If you have any questions for future episodes, please find me on LinkedIn. Send me a DM, connection request, Yona Weiss, and I'd love to hear from you.